there, darling viewers, it's Jen here at Check Her Joy, and this time I'm reviewing Binti, the Night Masquerade by Nnedi Okorafor. I'm really bad at pronouncing all the words in this review, I'm sorry. So, this is the third and final novella in the Binti series. So the first book in the series is Binti, and the last book is Binti Home. Definitely read Binti first. Like, read the series in order. The first book is a self-contained story, so you could just read Binti and stop if you wanted to, and that one's only 96 pages, so super short. But books 2 and book 3 heavily rely on the world building that happened in there, so start with book 1 and read these in order, or you're going to be confused. Also, they're really good, so read all of them. And book 3 is 203 pages, and I added them all up. The entire series is only 461 pages, so you guys could totally sit down and read all of these at once. It's just a large book all combined. So in book 1, we were introduced to Binti, and she is a girl from the Himba tribe in Africa, and she has some different cultural stuff happening that we would probably not be used to in the Western world, like the fact that her tribe is very internal. They like to go inward rather than outward, so they keep to themselves. Introverted was definitely something I would think about. They also have very strong traditions and culture, and Binti seems to just buck all of them. She really wants to be the perfect Himba girl who gets married and makes her family proud, but she wants to go explore everything. She wants to go out into space, and she's got a brilliant mind, and she wants to learn more, and she wants to lead, and she wants to help everybody, and she's not just focusing on her tribe, but she's looking at the entire galaxy. So in book 1, she helped bring a tentative peace between the Meduse and the Khoush, and that comes into play in book 3. Some things that happen in book 2 that are kind of important for the setup for this book is that she went home to Earth and to her tribe to try to do this pilgrimage. But instead of going on the pilgrimage, she got called off on her own kind of thing, where she went to this neighboring tribe called the Nnedi, and this is her father's tribe. And she finds out that actually she has some special abilities from her father's side of the family that she didn't know about. So she has these powers where she can communicate over long distances. So it's kind of like this typing thing. She sits with a keyboard and then types out these words, and then it is in front of her like a text message, and then she can send it. But it's all mental, and then the other person receives it as just this text in front of them. And then Binti is also part Meduse. She's gotten these tentacles, these blue tentacles on her head. Instead of having hair, she has these things that have feelings and can send more telepathy, but to the Meduse. And so Binti is so interconnected with all of these different groups, and so that's also becoming a problem because she's no longer just a human Himba girl. She is part Meduse, and she's part of the Nnedi tribe, which apparently have powers from this other alien species. Lots of interesting things happening with Binti. I do love her as a character. She is amazing, and that's my favorite part of this series is just following Binti and her internal struggles. It feels real. She has actual normal conflicts and really thinks about stuff and feels these pulls in different directions. And she does things like actually suffering from PTSD, like she was in a ship that was attacked and is actually dealing with ramifications of that. That is the series so far going into the Night Masquerade. Book 3 starts off with Binti having nightmares. She is having a nightmare that her family is being attacked and killed, and she can't do anything because she's not actually there. She's just dreaming about it. But she's got a sinking suspicion that this is actually what's happening, and so she and Mwini, the guy that is helping her get back home, start rushing off to get back to her home village. And she finds out that the Khoush have come to attack Akuwu, who came with her to Earth. And Akuwu is the first Meduse who has been on Earth in a peaceful mission, and the Khoush don't believe that's what actually is happening, so they've attacked him. So now Binti has to try to stop a war between the Meduse and the Khoush again, but this time the stakes are higher because she has to protect her own village. It's kind of a mess. So Binti is a harmonizer. She is trying to bring peace to everyone around her. Mwini is also a harmonizer, but in a slightly different way. He can communicate with living creatures. and plants, and that's pretty cool. So the two of them are trying to bring a peace and harmony to this area and de-escalate the conflict. And Binti is trying to get her tribe to help, but they have some reservations about helping the Khoush, especially when they've just come in and started attacking their town. There's also the whole concept of the Night Masquerade, which is a Himba tradition. This is a spirit that comes and shows itself to men in the tribe primarily before change or revolution is about to happen. And Binti has seen the Night Masquerade twice. And girls don't generally see it at all, and nobody sees it like twice. So major upheaval is coming in this book. That's probably about all I can tell you about the plot without really getting into spoilers about what's happening. There is a lot of travel, there is a lot of kind of magical stuff happening with like alien species and advanced technology, and what the Zanari can do. I love the world building in this entire series, the way that the alien species work, the way that University works, how the Himba people are versus the Khoush versus the Zanaria. So even on Earth, we've got plenty of diversity. Binti's also a really strong character that I super love. And I love Akuru, who is the Meduse, her best friend. And Winnie is also pretty awesome. So loving all of them. However, the plot of this book felt a little bit repetitive at times. She is once again trying to broker peace between the Meduse and the Khoush. She is once again dealing with her not feeling like she fits in, but this time with more stuff thrown in. So like she didn't have enough not fitting in. We have to make her even less fitting in, I guess. My main complaint about like this series and how it's built up is just, can't Binti just be normal girl? Like, can't she just be human? Is being human not good enough? We have to make her all these other things, Himba and Zanaria and just Meduse. It's just, there's so much going on with Binti, and I feel so sorry for her. Like, I really do connect to Binti as a character, but sometimes I felt kind of ridiculous. I'm like, really? You're just going to throw more on here? So, my overall review of this series is that it's 4 stars. It might be more like a 3.8, honestly. Basically, this series started out amazing. I really love Binti. It's great by itself, book 1. And then the last 2 have progressively been a little bit worse. They're still amazing, though. Like, they still both got 4 stars. But I just wasn't as into them. I had such high expectations for this series after book 1. So I feel a little bit disappointed having gotten through book 3. So there are definitely some parts of this book that I want to discuss that are going to fall under spoiler territory, because this is the last book in the series and I want to talk about it. If you haven't read The Night Masquerade yet, and you're planning on it and don't want spoilers, just spoilers right here. More spoilers. First off, this book. Binti dies in it, but then comes back to life, which, it's sci-fi. That's the thing that happens. That's not really what I'm complaining about in here. The fact that she dies and in the process comes back and now she's a part of New Fish. She's part of a ship. She couldn't just be human, Medusanari. No, she also had to be part freaking fish. Seriously, can't you just leave the girl alone? Can't she just be one thing? Why does she have to be literally everything? Poor Binti. Also, she can't leave this distance from the ship. Like, she can leave Akuru and they can have space and she won't die, but if she gets too far away from the fish, she's gonna die now. So that's great. Thanks for that. I really didn't like that part of this book. Like, it was cool to see what it is like to be the fish and to travel through space and not need a ship around you and just to have like the openness around you. But it was also kind of annoying that she just had to become something else also. So she's had this alien artifact called her Nnedi the entire series. Since she was a little girl, it's part of what makes her go to University, makes her think about what's out there. And it's been such a big part of her story, and Binti spends so much time trying to figure out what this thing is. And then we do find out what it is. And it is basically just this message from the Zanaria, who want to know what it's like to be at University and should they go there. Literally, they put this girl through all this stuff just so they could find out whether or not they should go to University. You know what? I'm pretty sure this university has tours. I bet if you showed up and be like, we have questions, they'd be happy to answer those questions for you. You don't need to put Binti through all this stuff. Literally, like, all this happened because she found the Zidane and was starting to think outside her tribe. That is just so manipulative and for such like a bad reason. I really didn't like finding out what the Adon actually was and why. So really kind of hate the Zenaria after that. I'm like, you guys are stupid. Why? And then we also find out that the Night Masquerade is not a spirit. It's not anything metaphysical. It is literally a member of the Himba tribe in this costume that is supposed to inspire members of the tribe to do different or great things. So that was just a little bit disappointing. It wasn't that annoying, and it was kind of predictable that it was actually going to be a person, but I don't know, I kind of wanted the spooky ghost showing up out of nowhere. I mean, there were other aliens, why couldn't this also be an alien? And then we find out that the tribe, since it's the elders of the tribe who are sending out the Night Masquerade, it means that they've been pushing Binti to go do all this stuff. And then when she asks them for help and support, they don't give it to her, which is kind of like, why would you push her then if you didn't want her to do this stuff? If you wanted her to be a good girl that follows the rules and doesn't change anything, then why did you send her the Night Masquerade? So those were the parts of this book that I wasn't terribly a fan of, and why this book, I feel disappointed in it. It's still really good though. Also, Newfish is adorable. She, it is this baby whale. The ships are actual creatures. And I love like the baby's view of what the world is like in the universe and just being excited to go out and try everything. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna be, paired with a human. That's cool. That's a thing we do. That's awesome. I'm excited for that. Let's do that. Let's go to Saturn. Let's go to Umza University. This is gonna be awesome. So I love the baby. And we do get to see more of Umza University, which is my favorite part of the series. So that was exciting. And getting to see Muwini try to go there and how he fits in and how he just becomes super popular. Like, everybody's drawn to him. Also, I really liked the relationship, Binti and Muwini. I liked the romance. I liked the fact that Binti was struggling with the fact that she wouldn't ever get married, that she was making these decisions, and it was pushing her outside of that. And while she's kind of accepted the fact that she's not necessarily going to get married, it's nice to see her have somebody that loves her and likes her despite everything that makes her different and appreciates her. So I love the two of them together. It was a little bit weird, everybody assuming that she was mating with a Huu when they're not. That was kind of weird. Not anywhere near the same species. Just because she has tentacles for hair, I mean, it doesn't mean they've been doing anything. So that was odd. And then parts of this book are too magical. Like, I love magic, but some of them just were too much to the point that this series became unbelievable. So we've got Binti having all these ways of communicating and knowing what other people are thinking, and it just became too easy almost. Like, she loses her astrolabe, but then she doesn't really need it because she can just like think of things to other people. So that seemed a bit too easy. Also, the fact that the microbes can just mysteriously bring her back to life. Like, what? Her family's not really dead. Also, they're just further in the tree, which was kind of this magical thing that happened. And just the entire way that her home village is set up, like the way the well works, and the way that these dying trees are, like, all of this just seemed too much. Like, there wasn't enough basis in reality, so I was having trouble sticking with it, because I was like, no, that's not really, we're just gonna throw that in too. But mostly I love this book, and I loved seeing everything that was happening. I was excited that they were gonna go to Saturn and see the Zenaria. Everything wasn't exactly what I hoped it would be, but it's still so vivid and so rich. Still got the 4 stars, though. I'm telling you that. This is an amazing world building, and the writing is fantastic. And I love the fact that Binti can do the mathematics and the treeing. So if you guys have read this entire series, which hopefully you have since we've gotten through the spoilery section, let me know in the comments below what you thought of Binti or the Night Masquerade or any of it. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. I would totally appreciate that. And peace out. I love you guys, and keep reading. Bye.